From the Dallas On Air studios in beautiful Dallas, Texas, this is Fulfillment here on DallasOnAir.com. And now here's your hosts, the Vegabomber and the Film Samurai.
All right, welcome everybody. It's Memorial Day weekend. So that means for some of us, a 3-day weekend. Carlos, you off for 3 days, or are you going to have to?
Yeah, I'm going to do a Star Wars marathon tomorrow.
So you are off, you're doing a Star Wars marathon?
I might. I'm thinking about it, yeah.
Oh, man.
First three, you know.
That's just right.
Just do those first three.
Yeah, those are the ones that are worth it.
Well, you could throw in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek also. We were talking about that out there this morning. I loved, Star Trek the first time I saw it when it was called A New Hope. Just saying.
That's right. Yeah, well, we are going to talk about today for all you joining us. Thank you for getting up early this morning to watch us, or maybe you're just going to watch this later today. Either way, it's all good. But it's Memorial Day. So the last time we were together was another holiday. It was Mother's Day. So we hope that you guys took care of your mothers well. Today, we just want to honor those veterans and then those who went over there and didn't get a chance to come back to fight for the freedoms that we have today. So that's kind of what today is about. And then there's a gang of movies that are coming out between today and tomorrow because Hollywood knows that you're off. Or taking some vacation, so they want you to get into theaters, soak up some of that air conditioning, and watch some of these films. So I think that's a pretty good lead in for that. Carlos, did you get short-timer's disease on Friday and kind of leave a little early because you knew this was going to be Memorial Day weekend?
Absolutely. Yeah, I came in early so I could leave early. Yeah. I didn't go to the theater, but no, I did get a head start on the weekend of movie watching.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Zach? Did you skate out a little early on Friday, knowing?
I took off Friday, man.
You took off?
I'm doing the 4-day weekend, man.
Yeah, I should have done that.
Extended it.
No, I did the hooky day. Rather than being in a theater, actually went out and saw nature in a zoo.
Yeah,
zoo. But then came home and watched a movie. I found Attack of the Killer Tomatoes on Tubi, and the one thing I can say about that, it was a movie.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, as opposed to the benign ones, right?
Correct.
So this seems to be the case. Well, there is a tradition in Hollywood to release a lot of movies during this time. And so what Carlos and I thought we'd do this week is just take a look at the top 5 top grossing releases that happen to coincide with the Memorial Day weekend. So we're going to do that for you now as a special treat for Memorial Day. So number 5 top grossing film released around this time was X-Men Days of Future Past. It did $110 million for that particular weekend. And was there anything that you remember about X-Men Days of Future Past?
What I remember about that is it was kind of the 70s, right? It kind of was a 70s vibe.
Yeah, they threw it back, yeah.
I remember Jennifer Lawrence wearing a big hippie hat, and cool bell bottoms and stuff. And Professor X as a young stud trying to pick up chicks in the college bars.
Right.
And she was giving him a hard time about it. It was all right.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
Yeah, out of all those installments, I think mine still was First Class is my favorite out of all those. I think everyone after that tried, maybe, except for Apocalypse. I think they just gave up with that. But Days of Future Past, the comic book was better, like in all cases.
They sent Wolverine back to the past to correct the future.
Something like that, yeah. Just kind of like Avengers Endgame, huh? Just sending people back to a certain timeline to change.
There's no original ideas anymore. It's just variations of the same.
Right? Well, number 4 may not surprise some of you. The number 4 top grossing film during this time frame would be The Fast and the Furious 6, not to be confused with 4 or 5 or 3 or 2 or 1, and maybe even 15 in the future. And it had an opening gross of $117 million, so over a weekend.
Was that Paul Walker's last one?
I think this was the first one that The Rock came out in, right?
Yeah, I think that might be correct.
This is the one where Gal Gadot's character, spoiler alert, she died.
I think so.
It was, that movie was the first Fast and Furious that I went and saw that I was kind of like, whoa, they're really doing something different. It's very over the top. It's almost comic booky. It's like unrealistic. He's diving off a car and landing on another car, going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like blown away by it. I was like, I was like coming out of theater. I was like, wow, couldn't wait to like write about it. And
Yeah.
so it was fun. But then they just got more and more over the top and ridiculous. And
Yeah.
now they got submarines, and
Yeah.
next they're going to go into space probably.
Yeah,
Who knows?
that's what's left is space.
Now they got spin-offs.
And then they'll have Jedi cars that'll have certain kyber crystals. And
I like Jason Statham, but I really don't want to go see this new Rock and Statham spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw. I'm
Yeah.
gonna take a big pass on that.
I think that one's going to appeal to a certain group of people.
Film bros.
Yeah,
they call
film
them.
bros. That's what they call them. Yeah. So number 3 in this list is actually another X-Men movie. So the X-Men folks have this thing down, right? So X-Men Last Stand is the third most grossing at this time, and this is 122 million. So it just barely topped Fast and Furious 6, or we'd had 2 X-Men movies right next to each other. Yeah. So The Last Stand?
I hated this film. I hated this film so much.
Tell us about that, Zach. Why did you hate this film so much?
Juggernaut.
No, I was fine with the Juggernaut. I'm the
love
Juggernaut.
No,
the fact that they got in that meme, I'm the Juggernaut
Yeah.
bitch, was amazing.
Oh my god.
But the fact that Halle Berry demanded more screen time, 2 words, Halle Berry, no. No, you do not need more screen time. And I mean, the fact that they killed Cyclops in the first 10 minutes. Spoiler, I don't care. No.
That's right.
I mean, they made Cyclops so disposable they could kill him in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's horrible.
And we're gonna get it again. We're gonna get it again with Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Which is coming out June 7th for all of those who want to know when does Dark Phoenix come out. But yeah, no, that's a good link to that. And I agree with you. It's almost like, it was like, okay, I want to talk to you guys, Marvel. Y'all seen a movie called Catwoman? Why would you think that Halle Berry would need more screen time? I mean,
she won an Oscar. Who cares?
I think people would pay you not to put her on screen and you'd make more money.
couldn't you killed her in the first 10 minutes?
Yes. I mean, that was a shame too. And that should be wrong, right? The person who plays Catwoman should never play Storm. I mean, that's just not right?
Yeah, Catwoman was just some kind of weird anomaly didn't make sense. It was a no universe. It was just, a film within itself, and it was just terrible.
Yeah, I think we can say that. Yeah,
Halle Berry in a tight cat suit, and it'll make money.
There it is. See?
Yeah, you would think.
There it is.
So number 2, the number 2 all-time top-grossing film during a Memorial Day release would be Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because it brought in 126 million that weekend.
These movies get worse and worse as they go up, right?
Oh my God! We actually did a rant court pit a couple of weeks ago with Eddie Medina and his wife Colleen, because Cole was out, and we talked about the indie franchise and went on at length about this one.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, right when they say Harrison Ford's never been in a bad movie. From fanboys, right?
Yeah, that's when Kate Blanchett started doing her camp routine, with playing the Nazi officer, I guess. She was. Her accent was just way over the top.
Yeah.
Did y'all know you were in for a terrible film when on that opening sequence? I mean, could y'all just feel that you were going
the refrigerator scene?
I'm trapped here for an hour and a half with this.
It was hilarious, man. It was just it just cracked me up. The monkeys swinging through the trees with the monkeys, the giant ants.
The ants! That pissed me off.
It was like a cartoon, basically. It might as well have been a cartoon.
Yeah,
right.
May as well have been.
There was a good sequence in the beginning with Mutt, the character of Indy's son, where there was a big chase scene through the college and the motorcycle and stuff. It's kind of entertaining. It's, trademark Spielberg set piece where it's just nonstop action and visual, gags and stuff. So yeah, it was overall though, I would never watch that movie again.
See, and this should be the message to everyone. If Harrison Ford can do a bad movie with a series, Indiana Jones, then what hope does anyone else have of doing anything beyond the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth movie? You think they would learn a lesson. But here we go. The suspense is probably killing you, those watching at home. So we'll tell you the number one film of all times that has a release around Memorial Day weekend is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. This thing grossed $139 million over that weekend.
Wow. That World's End. Which one was that one? Was that the one with where the ship was like in a bottle or something, and they had to crabs started carrying it, and
I quit watching those
China
after the
or
second
Shanghai or something. I think.
There
was some Asian stuff in it. Man, I hadn't seen that movie. I think since it came out, I haven't watched it since.
Yeah, and in the top 10, it's interesting. There are 3 X-Men movies in the top 10 around this, and there are 2 Pirates of the Caribbean films in the top 10
Disney
around
movies.
this. So, Memorial Day weekend, you would think they'd have movies that'd be more memorable since it's Memorial Day weekend, but this isn't the case here. These are all pretty bad. I don't think I'd watch any of these. What do you think, Kazak?
The more things change, the more they stay the same. And that's what the studios bank on this weekend.
That's exactly it. And so hopefully this weekend things will be different. So with that, nice clean segue for us to get into our first segment of the day, and that will be picks of the week. So first I'll go ahead and run down these picks. These are movies that are released just this week, or you can go see in the theaters right now, and then we'll tell you what we think of each film, and then we'll give you the pick out of those. And so we've got really just 3 movies that have come out just for this weekend. The first one being Aladdin, so we know that's going to be the Godzilla of this whole thing. The second one being Brightburn, and then the third one being a comedy called Booksmart. So let's start with the obvious one. Let's start with Aladdin. This is 2 hours and 8 minutes. This is the longest of the 3 movies that are released this weekend. The director is Guy Ritchie, and then we have actors Will Smith and Mina Massoud and a few others, but those are probably the bigger names.
Scott.
Naomi Scott, yes. So
I had no idea Guy Ritchie was in charge of this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you, Aladdin, does this have any appeal to you? What do you think, Phil?
No, but I've been hearing people say it's not bad. Like, they were surprised that it was as good as it was.
Really?
The trailer I saw and one musical sequence I saw didn't come off very well at all. When you translate an animated film to live action, you lose all the crazy movement. Especially like animal characters. You can't do that facial stuff that they do with animals, like in The Lion King. So it's like, how are they going to do The Lion King live action when you don't have all the, like, Pumbaa, he was so expressive, and Timon, it's like you're taking a little animal, a realistic animal, and trying to do the same thing. I don't see how it works.
Yeah, and I saw those pictures out there of Will Smith with the blue paint on him to try to make him look like Genie, and I don't know that was a good look. I don't know that worked. And then, of course, there's the folks that are the Robin Williams holdups to this character that are like, Will Smith shouldn't be doing this compared to him. I don't know. Where do you weigh in on that whole
I heard
Genie controversy?
Somebody say if Robin Williams was still alive, he would have done a great job. I said, well, I don't know necessarily. Maybe he would, but man, he would be so old.
Yeah,
I mean, he'd be aged a lot. I don't know if he really pull it off, especially live action. The cartoon, of course, his voice. That's all you need. But Guy Ritchie, I love his films, Sherlock films. I like his old, British films, rock and roll. I was saying on my Twitter, I hope this movie's like super successful, so he'll have that money and make the sequel to Rock and Roll. Because at the end of the movie, he puts the boys will be back in Rock and Roll, more Rock and Roll or something.
More Rock and Roll.
And it's a great cast: Mark Strong, Gerard Butler.
Yeah,
but anything was a step up from Revolver. Jesus.
So
when did Revolver come out? Do you remember that one, Zach?
I'm not sure. I can look it up real quick though.
Yeah, just curious.
Give me a sec. While you
got it. So so this is slated as an adventure / comedy / family film. So you think
be a musical too, right?
And I imagine it could be one as well. So, but
all I want to know is, does Naomi Scott wear the red slave girl outfit? Remember the original film?
That's right. That's right. Now that I think about that.
Revolver was
I'm a
2005.
pervert, man. That's all I care about.
Revolver was 2005?
Yeah. The hot girl looked great. You know?
Yeah, you in the Slave Leia costume, right? That's the whole thing. Here's another one that's also coming out this week. It's the comedy known as Booksmart. Now, this is directed by Olivia Wilde. She's
It's
the
a
director
female
here.
directed film, so it's very important.
Yes,
Jay.
gotta
It's
watch
very
this.
important.
Gotta watch
You gotta
this.
No, that's
make an
Olivia.
effort.
That's Olivia Munn.
That's Olivia Munn? Oh, yes,
Olivia
that's right.
Wilde is from House.
From Tron.
House. Wasn't she in one of the Marvel
She
films?
was in Tron, remember?
Tron? Yes,
She was-
okay.
She was the girl in Tron.
You're right. Thank you.
The sequel to Tron, not the original Tron.
Yes, and so the lead actors here are Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein. So this is supposed to be like a female version of Superbad, I guess, if you will. It's another coming of age
comedy,
school,
These
coming
girls
of
are
age
smart, but they're
teenagers.
real vulgar and stuff.
Yeah.
They do drugs, maybe. I don't
They're
know.
like, should we study or should we party? And then it's like, so guess what wins? Partying, and then eventually they realize they need to study.
I think a more authentic version is there's a movie called Never Going Back. That
Yeah.
movie was hilarious. It's two girls.
Mhm.
They're waitresses.
Mhm.
They're poor as F,
Mhm.
but they have a good time together. They're
Okay.
they're like this. They're bonded. But yeah, that was a great movie. Independent film. Very very good though.
So Booksmart, that's going to be our
Oh.
comedy.
Booksmart, I hear, is great, but
Yeah, I'm pretty
I'll
sure
wait
it's-
till it comes out on Netflix.
Yeah, I
gotta
think this
pay
is
to see it.
probably a good film, but I'm thinking I'm just not the demographic on this one, in just the sense that this one probably isn't going to grab me. Like Aladdin. Aladdin's not really going to grab me, even though I grew up, I loved, Jungle Book's my favorite all time, even over Aladdin. So if I make it out to Aladdin, it'll just be because I have a nephew who might want to go see it or something like that, but I don't see that being...
Yeah, that's-
Booksmart and Aladdin
Right
are
now, I'm
following
glad
that.
all my kids are grown up, so I don't have to take them to all these.
Yeah, so you that's right. So if you
They were born in that peak area of Lion King, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Toy Story. Man, took in all those movies, and I loved all those movies. And we bought the videos and we watched them at home again and again and again because they were so good.
Yeah,
Hercules, and,
just Disney understands those tropes that are
Yes.
enduring forever, no matter what happens. Even if they are just tropes, they get them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the other film that came out this week, which is a film directed by David Yarosky, and it's called Brightburn. And we also saw that this week as well, so we'll talk about that more in the next segment. So this movie is just an hour and 31 minutes, so it's barely just a little over 90 minutes here. It is the shortest film that's released out of all three of them this week, and it is a horror sci-fi is the way it's being written as. And you got the actors Elizabeth Bank and David Denman and a kid, Jackson A. Dunn, my last name, and he was the kid that was in Endgame whenever Ant-Man was shrinking and he was a kid in the suit.
oh, he was that kid.
He was that kid. That's what I found out about that. But Brightburn here offers us something unique, something different. And apparently this is what if Superman, while he was a teenager or young, what if he didn't choose to be good? What if he chose to attack and be evil and mean? And so from there, a whole story plot ensues. And I like it. I mean, what do you think? I mean, in terms of these three films...
Which one would I go see?
Gee, which one would you go see, Carla?
Yeah, I already made my choice. Yeah, definitely Brightburn, I guess.
Brightburn, and I think you made a good clarification earlier. So just so everyone knows, James Gunn did not direct the film. He was one of the producers, and it was his two brothers that actually wrote the screenplay for it. So you had the Gunn brothers writing the script, and then you have one of the Gunn brothers being the one who produced it, but really it was David Yarosky. And where you would know him is from a movie from 2014 called The Hive, which is kind of like if you put Dawn of the Dead and Memento together. So it was a very interesting movie, lots of gore in it, definitely rated R, and very good premise for that movie for 2014. It got overlooked, and I think I only caught it because it was on Netflix not too long ago. So, and I thought pretty good. So if Brightburn, which we'll be talking about in the next segment, borrows from it, yes, you can see it all day long. Some of the nods to
I
it.
guess you can see that the Gunn brothers have kind of the same sensibility of James Gunn, where it's kind of humorous but kind of violent. Did you
Yeah,
ever see a movie called Super that James Gunn did?
I didn't see that one. No.
Rainn Wilson from The Office, I guess. And
Yes.
Ellen Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played a superhero, but like a homemade superhero. So he made his own costume. He carried around this big pipe wrench,
Like Kick-Ass.
and he hit dudes in the face. like he had phrases. I mean, it's really dark and weird, and it's a comedy. But man, it's dark. Oh my God! There's a scene at the end where it's like shocking.
Yeah.
I
believe that.
weird sensibility.
Well, and then I think some fans might know David or seen David's name, David Yarovesky, the director in this one. He's helped produce Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's the connection between him and James Gunn and how they know each other. So it almost seemed like they were just like, okay, let's come up with something. The superhero thing is really, really big right now, so let's turn it on its ear.
And the horror thing is big too, so let's combine the two and make something that everybody will go see.
That's right. And
Since we can't get New Mutants out for another 9 months, we're just going to push it back again.
That's right. So I would say then, if it's Aladdin, Brightburn, or Booksmart, I'm going to probably say that it's an answer that we're all probably thinking Brightburn.
You know, and it's one of those things where if I had to pick one, I'd pick Brightburn. But in reality, I probably wouldn't have gone to see Brightburn. I probably would have waited for that on streaming, you know, because it's just not really something because I kind of had a feeling of the quality of it, you know. It's we'll talk about it in the next segment. I'll tell you what I mean.
All right. So coming up then, we do have 2 other movies that will be coming out between now and before you see us the next time for sure. So Godzilla will be out, King of the Monsters. That comes out May 31st, so that's this coming week. So Godzilla will be here. And then Rocket Man will come out, which I'm already seeing tons of ads for this everywhere. Wherever I click on my internet, I'm seeing just that ad. So
got a big standing ovation at one of the film festivals. Terry Edgerton did, and the director too.
Yeah, speaking of
Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah, speaking of standing ovations, I hear Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had its premiere at Cannes and got over huge.
Yeah.
Nice.
7-minute standing ovation for Tarantino.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly when that one's supposed to be slated to come out, but I need to look at July.
Okay, around my birthday, 17th.
There'll be more around that. Now, what I understand here about this coming of Rocket Man is that it is a biopic, but it's more of a musical than it is a biopic.
Yeah,
is what I'm understanding.
It's got some kind of fantasy sequences in it.
Mm-hmm. And so evidently there's parts in it where people are wondering where this is going to compare to Bohemian Rhapsody, right? And I think that's probably one of the bigger distinctions is that you're going to see that this one's going to play more like a musical than a biopic itself. Mm-hmm. So that's probably a good idea, just to separate it from.
And his songs lend itself to that. I mean, his songs are very kind of similar, more surrealistic, and a lot of it's poetry basically. It's it's beautiful songs.
Yeah. So Rocket Man, not to be confused with Superman or Batman or any of the other mans out there. It's not a superhero film. This is a musical with a big headdress, everybody. So it's going to be a lot different than what you might think. You can see this guy sitting on the couch right now going, "Oh, damn, they got a Rocket Man now? Damn, what's next? Mousetrap guy? I mean, damn, right?" But no, Rocket Man, if you don't know, is Elton John, who before that.
I think a lot of people just know the song, so when they hear Rocket Man, all of a sudden that song starts playing in their head.
Yeah, you know what we should do is we should have a contest that week to see who can get the lyrics right to that song. Right, because everybody knows Rocket Man, and then what's the next lyric? Something burning along on surf with stone. So we might do that. If you watching and paying attention out there know the lyrics without cheating and looking at your internet, if you know the lyrics, maybe there might be something for you on that. If you know and you're watching, and you can comment below the lyrics. That'd be awesome.
Bonus points you can do if you can reenact it like Shatner.
That's right.
Because that's the greatest.
Yeah,
that's the greatest cut of that song ever.
My bags, free flying.
Oh my goodness, that is too wild. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to then now move into our next segment, which is the segment that's all about just seen it. So these would be films, wiki, that Carlos has just seen and that I've just seen. And these include also small screen, so this could also be Netflix. So as always, we kick off to you, Carlos. What's the film we're going to talk about that you have seen this week?
Okay. I'm going to talk about a couple.
Okay.
The first one, And I'm not going to talk about very much about it because it's called The Perfection. It's on Netflix right now.
The Perfection.
It stars Allison Williams. You saw Get Out. She was the girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
The less you know about this movie, the better. Because, man, it has so many twists and turns. It's very dark. It's sort of has a weird sense of humor to it. And it will shock you. I mean, it'll stun you. I haven't seen anything quite like it in a while. But it's called The Perfection. And basically it's about a girl. She's a musician. Had to take care of her mom. She was a cellist, classical cellist. Mm-hmm. And then she comes back. And enough said. I'm not going to tell you anymore. You just have to watch it. It's amazing. It premiered at Fantasy Fest in Austin, and it got a big reaction. A lot of people were talking about it afterwards. The other film is Brightburn, so we can get into that.
Okay.
I saw it yesterday, matinee. I dug it. I liked it. It was better than I expected it to be. Like you said, it's sort of a mishmash of, you can say it's a superhero film, but to me it's not like a traditional superhero film. Kid is not like in any superhero universe or anything like that. He just takes on the tropes of the superhero as far as a cape and a mask.
That's true.
And it's evil. The kid is, but the kid is not inherently evil. I don't think it's really giving anything away, but he's kind of programmed to be by the ship that brought him.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth Banks is really good in it. She plays it straight. It's not campy or anything, which I liked. I like how they played everything pretty straight. It's super gory. Oh my God, that one scene where the guy, I won't say anymore, but
yeah.
Oh man, the father who the adoptive parents of the kid, they both do good, but the kid was really good too. Yeah. And man, there's some scenes that made me really uncomfortable. When he shows up in his classmate's room. You thought, oh my God, where are they going with this? So it was like, yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah. And I think, with that, what they're saying is, and I think it's probably, and you're actually technically correct all the way around. It's not a superhero. And it's true. It's more about the tropes. So the tropes of this kid is really exactly like Superman. I mean, he comes down on a planet, and, he's not from here. He's an alien, and he lands in some Midwest town, right? Just like Superman. So you're right. It's not truly in real definition that, but it does follow all the tropes of Superman. But then ask the question, what if he wasn't the good Boy Scout that we see in Clark Kent, And so I thought that was genius. I saw it too this week, and I guess some of the positive things about this film, I would say, is that I do like the idea of how it was realized. They did keep the time very short, so they kept moving to a lot of different segments, which then highlighted the fact that in some segments of the movie was a little slower. Then you're going, you don't need to explain that. We kind of get what's going to happen. This is pretty straightforward. Keep moving. But I would say that Elizabeth Banks, she does a great job here of selling the idea of the mom. Here's a woman who can't have kids, and this is her only chance perhaps to have one other than to adopt some. And so she just falls in love with this little baby boy that comes in from space. She thinks it's her answer to a prayer. The universe spoke, right? And then you see David Denman, who plays the father, plays Kyle. And that's a good job there because he's just like, well, I want to have a legacy. I want to leave something behind here. I got to leave this ranch to somebody, So I thought that was done well. And then Jackson A. Dunn. I mean, this kid just plays creepo weirdly.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, he's just good. Every time he's on the screen, you just kind of have to watch him.
It's like unpredictable role where you don't know what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah. It's almost like what the film isn't saying that's probably scarier in the fact that when you see a kid, why kids to me are scarier in horror films than adults is you expect adults to follow a certain rationale. Right. Kids are temperamental. They could just all of a sudden decide to flip and go crazy on you. And so you can't you got to be like this master psychologist to try to talk the kid down. With an adult, they're just acting evil. You just get rid of them, right? That's what John Wick taught us, right?
It's like that old classic Twilight Zone episode where, remember Billy Mummy, where he plays the kid, where he just points his finger, and then everybody's all friendly and so nice to him, and they're very nervous, walking on eggshells all the time, and they don't know how to, they can't get onto him because he can send them out to the cornfield. So it's kind of like that, where it's just like, you don't want to piss him off, you want to be very careful with him, and towards the end, but you have to also set boundaries and do the best you can as far as disciplining the kid.
Yeah, and I think Brightburn, what it does well also is, again, just to bring that to a world now that's so superhero indoctrinated. It's good to have something that kind of can contrast it. And go the different direction.
Subverts the expectation.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that if there would have been a few more kills in this movie, I think people would have really been like, oh, yeah, but I get it. He didn't want to try to compete with John Wick. Can you imagine that? If John, you know what I'm saying? Can you imagine what happens? They go, so his name is Brandon. What is it, Brandon Breyer? Yeah, that's his name in here. The young Superman go crazy, Damon Omen / whatever.
Where the name is always alliterative,
Yeah. So it's like Peter Parker, Brandon Breyer, right? So it would be interesting, though, I guess if I did connect it, since everything's a connected world, it'd be like Brandon, he kills all these chickens in the movie, right? So now Brandon kills a dog. And they go, oh, you messed up now, Brandon. Why? You know whose dog that is? No, whose is it? John Wick's dog. Oh. Then he just shows up, right? Actually, that might have been... Well, anyway, we won't go there because that'll...
Oh, we can cross universes. It's fine.
It's fine.
That's next Memorial Day.
Yeah, we see how that movie would handle it. Well, so I think that was good. The movies that I have seen, just seen it... I did see John Wick 3, so that had come out in between shows. And again, this is a movie that I think for what you want to see on the outset, you're going to get exactly what you want. If you just want to see mindless, pointless killing and just different kill shots, you're going to get that in spades in that movie. What I do find interesting about John Wick 3 is the opening scenes. I think the first 3 fights, as somebody who watches a lot of MMA, I used to watch a lot of it, not as much anymore. I could appreciate the artistry in the fight choreography. So going from guns to knives to fighting in small spaces, big spaces, multiple attackers when you have a weapon, multiple attackers when you don't have a weapon. I mean, you're just not going to find probably much better stunt choreography and fight choreography in a film. So you have to give John Wick its due there. I think the thing that's going to be tough about John Wick 3 is that since the plot is like 10% of the movie and the action is 90% of the movie, you're going to have a hard time trying to figure out where to go with this character, because the bloodlust of watching people getting blown away at point blank range with a gun several times in the face is eventually going to get old. And so I kind of fear for John Wick 3 in the sense that since they left it open at the end, I mean...
What you mean, are you fear for John Wick 4?
Yes, for John Wick 4, yes. And I hate that John Wick 3 set up a John Wick 4.
Yeah.
I think
it would have been nice to close it out and have a beautiful trilogy of just mayhem, and like, because they're going to try to outdo John Wick 3 like they did with 2 and 1. To me, the first one is just pure. Is just a perfect film. And I almost would have been fine if they would have just left it alone after that. But
true, yeah.
2 was fine, but 3 I really liked it. I like how they opened up the world. Some people didn't like that stuff, but to me it was fine. Ian McShane was just amazing actor. I like his stuff. But you're right, man. The choreography in this movie, the action set pieces, and I like how they went around the world with it. They're in desert, they're in Casablanca. I love that whole sequence there. And the opening in New York City, the library scene was great. I love that scene with the giant. Yeah,
and this kind of opens up a conversation in here, since we certainly have some time for sure. And that is with these films. Like I'm again, I guess coming from a military family, coming from a background in martial arts and understanding. I guess for some of these films, what's really difficult is to watch a person take all these shots, hits, kicks, all this stuff, and yet he still has the same energy throughout the fight scene to fight even more people. And so I think that trope now of the fighting where the guy, like, I want to see him take hits because that's what happens in a real fight, so I like that. But what I don't like is the exaggerated piece about the energy level of somebody after swinging and swinging and swinging. You're tired, and yet in the film,
especially when you've already been stabbed in the leg, stabbed in the shoulder, shot.
It's
like,
and I
hit the head, thrown off a second floor of a disco, and land on your back. Like,
does anything hurt you?
Yeah.
Only pain.
Yeah, that's what was problem with me with the Punisher, the television series. Man,
Yeah.
the guy took so much punishment, but he could still fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and to the short point of this too, as well, is like you would think if these are the world's baddest assassins,
You have to suspend disbelief.
at some point you should realize if he's going to take out most of our fighters here, should we just continue to send waves and waves of guys in here, or should we just go for the ultimate kill, bring that hand grenade, lock him in a room, and then blow him up? I mean, at some
Or
point,
just shoot him from a block away with a high-powered scope. Take his head off.
So I was just like, because I think the humor was really the part. Like, if we talk about some of the negatives here with John Wick, I hated the fact that the one of the number one bad guys started making jokes and stuff, and
like he broke character in the middle of the film. He's supposed to be badass. All of a sudden, I'm a big fan of yours, John Wick. Sitting right next to him. It's just like,
in another life.
I kind of cringe at those scenes.
It's like Marvel's
didn't work
the
for
Marvel
me.
influence of just joking
It's
about everything
seeping
shows
into
up
other
here,
stuff,
and I was just like,
and it
no.
sucks.
Have they ever seen martial artists? They're pretty serious. They don't crack
They're
jokes.
intense
And
dudes, yeah.
yes, they are, because they're
They're-
very serious about their craft.
They don't fuck around, cracking jokes, unless
They're
they're they having a party, good time, drinking stuff, which I'm sure a lot of them do. But for
Yeah.
the most part, yeah, especially in a position like that, where you
Yeah.
got a guy who's a legendary
Yeah.
killer, you're in the same room with him, you're going to be tense.
Yes, because
exactly.
you're not going to walk out of that room alive. He doesn't let you live. So it's a do or
Either
die.
you're dead or he's dead.
Yeah, so in that moment, you're not joking. So I think the idea where they were like, I think you and I would have been friends in another life.
Oh my god!
Really? That's what he'd be saying? No, he'd be thinking death before dishonor. That's probably the way he's thinking about that sort of thing. And he's like, but yeah, I didn't think that. And then here's the other problem. This starts a powder keg right here. But I like saying, because I don't care if you get mad. I mean, we're talking, right? We're just talking. So this idea of having the women in these movies, okay, and they never get hit. Right, John Wick gets stabbed, all this
Never
stuff,
get
and I
punched
watched
in the
this
face,
film. They never get
bloody
punched.
nose.
Yeah, they only landed one punch on Halle Berry in this film, and that was to hit her in the stomach.
What's her name did in the first one? Remember that hotel fight? She got beat up pretty good.
Yeah,
That fight with John Wick was actually pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Bloody nose and everything.
Now she took some, but in this film, I was just watching, right?
But
Because
Halle
first
Berry
of all,
in
I
this
don't
film-
buy Halle Berry as an ass kicker anyway. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, she got
Don't buy Halle Berry, period.
That's right. See, she should be on your blacklist. Halle
She
Berry.
is.
She. Well, see, how did I
Yeah.
know? How did I know? But I mean, in this film,
That's
right?
because of X-Men 3. I'm not kidding.
Right? Well, if Catwoman didn't do it for you, sure, right? But see, in this film, again, here's the reality, right? So if John Wick's the baddest of the bad, and he's taking shots, how on earth does she not take more than one shot? Is she that good? She avoids all this, or do we have what we call in the movies, these fight movies, where they wait for the person to beat them up? And that's what you saw there. Like, I think there's this one scene where Halle Berry is straddled over this guy, and she's got her gun, and she pops, and then she takes it and slaps him across the face, and all he does is he just lay there. The assassin just lays there and lets her do this to him. I'm like, you wouldn't sweep her leg and knock her down? She's straddling over you. That's the first thing you would do is knock that leg out, and she goes down because she's in a compromising position. But he doesn't do anything.
Maybe it's the guys where it's still inbred him and you never hit a girl.
Assassins, no. They kill your ass.
Man, woman, child, you're dead.
I will say the fight coordinator who was on John Wick 3 does have a pretty impressive resume.
Oh, absolutely.
Creed 2, the motion capture for Deadpool 2, Black Panther motion capture, Thor Ragnarok, Atomic Blonde.
Oh man, that was a great movie.
The first John Wick, the Wolverine,
Hunger Games.
Yes.
The dude has it right, man.
No, he gets in there because his moves are good. It's just what I'm saying is like when you watch these things after a while, it's like you know what's going on. It's like, well, we can't show a woman getting hit on screen because if we do that, then because I don't know if you remember during Apocalypse when that X-Men Apocalypse came out,
choking,
and because old boy was choking old girl, and all of a sudden it became this big thing of this one particular actress, and she made it a big deal. And like, dudes are getting their ass kicked left and right in these movies. It's no big deal. But if he holds up a woman and chokes her like this, who's supposed to be a superhero, supposed to be battle tested and all this other stuff. So I think that's where they kind of overplay it for me. Because whenever I watch the fight choreography, that's what I'm watching for. The good fight choreography is the stuff that looks so real. It looks like it landed, and the other person's reaction looks like.
You can't have the hero be completely invincible, where he never takes a hit like the Steven Seagal movies. Did he ever get hit in the face? Never.
No.
So.
Yeah. So for me, I was just kind of like, I would have liked. Not that I don't like Halle Berry anyway in this role, but I would have liked it more if it had been realistic. I'd like to see how. Okay, well, if you want to be as tough as the boys, you got to be able to take a hit. And I think that's what some of these folks that are really pushing hard for the female ass kicker to come in and do that, they have to understand that, first of all, these guys are just as trained as you are. But even more, they're stronger, and they're heavier, and they're faster. And I know that creates problems for some people. It doesn't mean you'll always win a fight. But realistically looking at that, if she doesn't take one shot at all, for me, it completely takes me out of the movie because I'm like, that's not a real fight. If you can land punches but nobody else can. It's like plot armor to the highest degree if you can't show that you've taken a hit or something.
I gotta hand it to her though. She did very well with her gun training. I mean, her reloading and shooting, and I've seen that training video of her where they have that, just mock-up of barrels and targets and stuff. Man, the way she just moves to that thing, they're timing her, and they got that little beep in her ear. Mm-hmm. And man, she is good.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
So it's just I
agree with you about that.
It's a part. It's just a part. Because I think Atomic Blonde had the same problem to me when I watched it. Because I'm like, if a guy hit her with a full fist, she's going down. She's not going to just turn.
But at least she got punched. I mean, the stomach and the face everywhere.
She did.
But
she did.
Yeah, it's not realistic where she would actually be stunned by the end.
Yeah. Because what I don't want is, so I have a sister, and this is probably where some of this comes from. And I don't want my sister thinking that if she just watches a couple of video, does some Taibo, does some training, that she can go in there and pick fights with 6'2" military trained dudes and think she's going to win. I just don't want that. And I would never train my daughter to go, oh, see that dude over there? You can kick his butt. That's no problem. It's like, no, don't make them think that this is something that you want to see a whole lot of, because it probably isn't going to end the way you think it will, because this is just a movie. And in a movie, girls can get punched in the face and knock a guy through a wall as if she's as powerful as a 6'2", 240-pound man. That's not how it works. It doesn't work like that at all. But
this is physics.
You have to,
If you want to see how that's going to go, watch True Romance and the fight between James Gandolfini and Patricia Arquette. Oof. That's how that's going to go.
There you go. And I love it. I love it for that. So with this,
sorry, that's as graphic as it gets, but that's as realistic as it gets too.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right about that. Now there was one other film that I saw, and I'm sorry, Kazak, I didn't get a picture for this one, but there was a Spielberg movie that I saw over the last couple of days that was on Netflix, and it was called War Horse. Have you heard of this?
Oh yeah, I saw it when it came out.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I think they released it at Christmas times. I remember going with my family to go see it in some theater in Irving, and yeah, it's a big old fashioned. Was it World War I? Right?
Yes, it was World War I. So Wonder
Joey
Woman was lurking somewhere.
Beautiful horse, man. There's some great scenes where you running along the trenches.
Yeah,
it was beautifully shot film. I don't remember that much about it. I just remember it was during World War One. Mm-hmm. The horse got drafted into the war, and it was just like an adventure, like Black Stallion. It's like you see this horse, and movies like that kind of like they're hard to watch for me because I hate animals getting hurt or suffering. Man, it's just one of those things where it just kills me. And so I don't really enjoy watching films like that. Mm. But War Horse, it's not one of my favorite Spielbergs, but it's a beautifully crafted film.
Yeah, so the synopsis of War Horse is that there's a young boy who loves this horse that's on this farm, and he speaks to this horse. He trains this horse. He does everything he can. And he's in a family that's pretty poor. and Dad kind of leverages things in a very crazy way sometimes. And they needed a horse originally just to be something that could plow this field, even though the horse that they get is a thoroughbred and not one that you would use for plowing. But the dad's just kind of random like that. And eventually the synopsis is the horse does get drafted into war, and you get to see this horse's life through the lives of the different owners that has this horse throughout. And you talk about superhero film. This horse is a superhero because it was a very strong stallion that had a heart of gold, right? It would it would take on anything. I mean, this horse, and to see it embodied in a horse, and I don't know about horse acting, right, and what level is good or bad, but I'll say this: I was convinced by the direction, whoever directed this horse to do what it did. I felt it was pretty good, like pretty seamless. And so this is one of those films that I don't want to say it's Old Yeller with a horse, because that would be kind of downplaying it. But there's some scenes in it where you will get the feels. It will choke you up in spots.
Yeah.
Right? Did you feel that?
It was one of those, the Oscar clickbait type of film where they throw the emotion. Well, Spielberg's like that. He's very sentimental, very nostalgic for the old times, and a lot of his movies are like that.
Yeah. So if you want to see something different, you want to see something with some heart in it, as well as the violence and all the other crazy stuff going around it, because it's set around World War I. So there's violence in this film. So if you need action, you will have some of that. But at the same time, it's from the perspective of just you feeling for this horse and how it can and can't do certain things for itself. I'm trying to say this so as not to give it away. But if you guys haven't had a chance, War Horse is a really good film, and I would say you're probably better off if you're able to watch it. Can you think of any other, and you too, Kazak, can you think of any other film that was kind of led by an animal that kind of really impressed you, that you thought, wow?
Well, Black Stallion.
Black Stallion?
It was produced by Francis Ford Coppola, but I think it was a European director made it. And what was another one? Can't think of it right off the bat.
Cujo!
Cujo.
Oh, The Bear. Did you ever see The Bear?
The Bear.
Yeah.
No.
That was another European director. It's a huge bear, and then there's a little bear too. And there's a funny scene where the little bear eats mushrooms.
Okay.
And it has like a LSD, trip. So he's like seeing flowers, like
green clovers, yellow flowers.
And stuff. It's hilarious. But the real bear, his name was Bart. The real bear.
Okay.
That they trained, and this bear's been in a lot of movies. He was in that movie with, I can't remember it was Anthony Hopkins, where he was in the wilderness and he got confronted by a bear.
Yeah.
They use that bear too, man. It's just this huge monstrous thing. But yeah, it's just this bear traveling along, and I think he finds the cub that just lost his mother, so he kind of takes him on. So there's this great scene where he's scraping a tree, and the little bear is like imitating him. It's hilarious. I mean, it's not a comedy, but it's just amazing to watch how they train these bears. It's kind of great. But it's like no dialogue in it. It's just
none whatsoever.
A bear,
Just a bear.
I think he runs into a hunter, and there's a great scene where he confronts the hunter. He has him trapped. Man, he just gets in his face, and the guy just like screams in horror. He's afraid he's going to get killed, like the Revenant,
The Revenant. So yours is Cujo then, Kazak? That's your favorite animal-led movie?
Let's see. I would want to say Jaws, but I don't know if that one counts.
Yeah, why not?
Because the shark isn't the lead. The shark is the impetus.
That's true.
Let's see. I'm just going through.
There you go with facts again.
I'm just going
Bambi.
through. I'm going through
Bambi.
Different animal films.
What about Godzilla, right?
Godzilla doesn't count.
Does he count?
Does
he not count?
That dog did a whole series of movies about. It was
Rin
about
Tin
a
Tin?
local filmmaker. No, it was kind of like a little terrier or something. I can't remember what it was.
Benji.
Benji. Remember those Benji?
Yeah.
Benji,
Benji, Lassie, etc. I'm just going through a list of animal movies. Willard.
Oh, Willard the Rat.
Willard is a tremendous. Willard is a really tremendously creepy film. I haven't had the heart to see the remake though with Chris
That
McDonald,
rat had some personality, man.
Yeah.
The original one, anyway. I think the new one had more CGI rats, probably. Crispin Glover was more the star of that movie.
Yeah. Let's see what else here. Let's see.
I can't really.
See, I don't know if
Beethoven?
Babe counts, but
Babe, yes.
Babe
All animals.
with the pigs, yeah.
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 Let's see. You've got Life of Pi with the tiger.
And that was the lead in that
Half,
movie?
she shares the boat with the guy for like half the movie.
Okay.
So you got to keep that in mind. Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia.
Spiders have personality? I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess so.
The one Keanu film I will make an exception for, Keanu with Key and Peele.
Oh no.
With the cat.
With the cat.
That was
The one that has the bandana on.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he was Crips or Blood, but I don't know. You better watch himself. Right?
I don't care. That movie was great. I enjoyed it just because I dug it.
What about Pet Cemetery? No.
You're reaching now.
We're reaching for that one for sure.
We're vamping.
Well, I would say then, so Carlos, we've both seen John Wick 3 then. We did see Brightburn. So I guess kind of final verdict on Brightburn. Or would you say that people would enjoy seeing this film?
What I was going to say earlier was that Brightburn, I probably wouldn't have gone to see it, but I knew we were going to talk about it, so I went to go. I'm not disappointed I went to see it, but it's the kind of movie I would expect to see on Netflix, like a Netflix original movie.
Okay.
It's not as high quality as I'd go out to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It probably wouldn't be. It'd be great to see it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those. It's real short, like you said, so it's moves fast. It's well paced, but the quality is not exactly something I'd go see in an art house film or something like that.
Yeah. So if you're wondering this weekend, then I would say that you're probably okay. You're probably okay going to see Brightburn. Just to make sure that you just set your
Depends on what you want to see.
your
If you wanna
expectations.
see a big, bright musical, go see Aladdin. If you want to see a comedy, you'll see
Booksmart.
Booksmart.
Yeah, and then if you want to just see things, watch the world burn, and you watch Brightburn.
If you're in an ugly mood.
And of course, what I saw online about this Brightburn was people were trying to say who would win in a fight. Would it be a young Superman or would it be Brandon Breyer here?
God.
Well, we are going to be. Well, like I said, we should go ahead and bring up the fact that we will not be in for our normally scheduled show on June 12th, but we will be back on June 26th. So you want to go ahead and take a look at a couple of movies that are coming out in that time frame?
Yeah, so we do know that between now and then, we do have Godzilla, Rocketman. We know that that movie, The Dark Phoenix, is coming out June 7th. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a film coming out called Ma with Octavia Spencer, which is supposed to be kind of twisted.
Yeah, I've seen that trailer so many times.
Yeah, I don't know.
No desire to see it.
Yeah. You've also got
Big pass on that.
you've also got let's see, Men in Black International coming out on June 14th.
Yeah,
You've got the Shaft sequel coming out on June 14th.
Shaft.
I'm surprised about that. Why are they doing a sequel to that? They did one already before, back in 2000. And
It's almost like they're rebooting it.
yeah. Is this going to be a cinematic universe now, the Shaft universe?
The best Shaft, though, was the one with Christian Bale.
Yeah.
You see that one?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That Samuel Jackson, I'm surprised if
that
this
person.
is like another movie starring the same actor.
I think, is it setting up his son to take over? Because I think there's a character who plays Shaft's son. I may be wrong.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know very little, but I just saw it the other day and I was confused because I was like, wait a minute, they already did Shaft. Is this a reboot? Is this a sequel to that one? And if so, when did we decide all of a sudden we needed a Shaft movie, another Shaft movie? I mean, I'm good with Shaft. I want to see it.
When's It Chapter 2 coming out? Is that towards the end of the year or is it this summer?
Chapter 2 of
It.
It. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'll look that up. Well, we got that. Let's see. You've also got The Dead Don't Die, Jim Jarmusch's zombie film.
I got a free pass to go see that. I'm going to go see that.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that one, just because the promos of that have been great, and I love Jim Jarmusch. He's my favorite filmmaker.
Adam Driver's in it.
You've got Toy Story 4 coming out June 21st.
That's right.
The Child's Play reboot.
Mark Hamill's doing the
Mark
voice.
Hamill.
Aubrey Plaza is playing the mother of the kid. and they got a unique idea of like, what's that device that you put in your home, like an Echo or something like that?
Yeah.
So Chucky is kind of like that. He can control the whole house as far as like open your garage door and
That's different.
turn on your lights at night. And
Yeah.
put music on. So now Chucky's like controls everything. But it's CGI, man. It looks terrible.
Yeah,
The design of it looks horrible.
So total pass
Why do
on
they
that.
get away from practical effects? Practical effects are just so much more effective in films.
Yeah.
CGI just takes me right out of the movie,
Yeah.
especially when it's bad CGI.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of that as well either. So I guess the big one that everybody's going to be talking about when we get together next time, they'll have seen Rocket Man and they'll have seen Godzilla, so that'll be a big talk. But I guess it'll be that Dark Phoenix saga, with the X-Men, because that's the 7th. So there'll be a lot of people talking about that. The MIB, I really don't even care for at all.
I saw the trailer for the first time for the whole thing, and it's
Yeah,
I mean, the only attraction for me would be what's her name, the actress
Tessa Thompson.
Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I really love the chemistry between her and
Hemsworth.
in Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
So yeah,
I guess so.
it's going to take place in London. So
This time it's going to be in London.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess they've done their market research and they'll know exactly what kind of films people need to see and all that. Maybe we'll get an Independence Day 15, so we can watch that yet again. I don't know. It seems too crazy.
Doomsday 2020.
Well, with that, let's see what's coming up next. So the next show, as you said, wasn't it the 9th was going to be?
right, we're gonna be taking. Normally we'd be scheduled for a show on. Let's see here. June 9th. So we'll be back on June 23rd for our next episode.
That's right. And I think we may do an independent project on the 9th, so you might get a chance to see that for sure. So keep tuned for that. But in that time, we'll have a lot of blockbusters to talk about. And so essentially, you can tell us what you think below. Which one of these blockbusters you have on your charts? Which ones you feel like you have to see? Which ones are you less interested in seeing? So comment in the comment section once we get this posted up, so that way we can start looking at your data and what you're telling us, so that we can then go ahead and speak into that. We'd love to do that. Well, I think for Fulfillment, this is going to do it for us today. Let's do some shout-outs. Who do we have some shout-outs for? That's right. Thanks, Carlos.
Well, of course, Mad Mel commented.
Absolutely.
Anybody who commented on our on the video and the Facebook stuff.
Yes.
But I want to give a shout-out to Joon-ho Bong. He's a Korean director.
Okay.
He won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival
Okay.
for a movie called Parasite, which I'm sure is going to be amazing. It was a unanimous decision by all the judges. Inarritu was on the panel. Elle Fanning was on the panel for some reason.
Really?
But yeah, everybody was unanimous, so the film must be amazing.
Well,
And it was one of those films that got a big standing ovation as well.
Nice. Well,
But I
maybe
like Bong Joon-ho. He directed this movie called The Host. If you've ever seen it, South Korean director. He's leans towards horror and genre movies, but yeah, check out his work. He's really good.
Well, if
One of my
they
favorite South Korean.
If they use the Kiss song "Parasite" to open it, I'm there.
You're there.
I'm there. Parasite opens with the Kiss song "Parasite." I love it. I'll be there.
And I don't want to know nothing about it, because it's best to go into this guy's movies like knowing nothing and just be blown away by the films. Because I didn't know anything about The Host, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, this is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen.
Well, my shout out will definitely go out to Mad Mel as well, and also Stephanie Crane. Thank you for watching us live. She actually watches us live.
Hey, Steph.
On that, so we appreciate you there. So go ahead and tell your friends. Go ahead and smash the like button by the time this gets over there to that. Put the link in there. The more you tell people about, the more we can get the word out about movies. And if you love talking about movies but don't have anyone to talk movies with, that's our favorite thing here to do, as well as throwing a little bit of humor and also just some stuff that just kind of that's interesting that they did that, so that you can get all that here in the Fulfillment Show. So, Carlos, where can they find you online, brother?
You can find me on Twitter at Film Samurai and Facebook at Film Samurai.
That's right, and make sure you take a look at what he's putting down. He's watching a lot of films that are that I can't even keep up with anymore. So, yeah.
I'm watching some old Olivier Assayas films on, I just signed up for Mubi. 3 months for $1.
3 months for $1.
So I'm going to try it out. I'm having problems with it, though. It keeps like like
Something
getting
wrong
an
with-
error message with the streaming. I don't have any problem with any like Netflix or Amazon or anything, but for some reason this one, it's funny because it shows a shot of Christian Bale from that movie Rescue Dawn. He's like,
Just kind of like that.
but I watched a movie called Something in the Air, which is one of his, came out after the miniseries he did, Carlos, with Edgar Ramirez. Really good film. And God, I can't remember the one I watched last night, but both were great. So I guess they're doing like a retrospective of some of his older films.
All right, and you guys can find me out there on the Vegabomber on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and the YouTube channel Vegabomber. So in between the shows, if you're wondering, since we come out with our shows on the 2nd and the 4th of each month, in between those you can go to the channel, the Vegabomber channel, and you will see some of the interviews, some of the reactions, and some of the trailer reviews of some of the movies that are coming out and all of that to keep you fed up until then, or keep you full, not fed up, keep you full until then. So until then, K-Zach, how can they find you?
You can find me here every Sunday here on DallasOnAir.com. Coming up next, The Vortex of Doom. You've also got, you can find me on Figments. You can find me on The Rant Corpet. You can find me on Isle of Toys. And, of course, you can tune in on Wednesdays for 12-Pack, or one of our sports talk shows. Tune in me here on Sundays and Wednesdays here on DallasOnAir.com.
There it is. All right, well, you guys, we'll just tell you now, this is Memorial Day weekend, so go get you some popcorn, go watch some movies so that you can come back and talk about it. But in this case, since it's Memorial Day weekend, go get you some barbecue, some corn on the cob, some potato salad, whatever else it is. Go sit around by a pool or
Pay
go to the lake.
respects to the veterans.
That's right. Pay respect to the veterans, because without them, we were not sitting here doing this. And so until then,
Absolutely.
Yeah, quick question in the room. What's your favorite war film?
oh, sure, you'd go there. Favorite war film?
Yep, favorite war film.
Saving
man.
Private Ryan.
I think that's probably going to be mine as well. Yep, Saving Private Ryan.
Dirty Dozen, man.
30 Dozen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Inglorious
That works too?
Bastards.
Dirty Dozen.
I'm going to watch that tonight. I'm
Glorious
watching all the
Bastards.
Tarantino's movies going backwards.
Dirty Dozen or Great Escape.
Yeah, no, that's
So-
good.
Oh,
That's a good
Great
call
Escape.
right there.
Classics.
All right. Well, hey, that's it. Kick that outro music, and we will see y'all next time.
Sayonara.
This is DallasOnAir.com.